Good now, everyone. I hope this broadcast finds you well. Wow, this is, like, way more echoey than normal. Well, hopefully my mic's not picking that up. My name is Artorius Winchester, Scholar of the Dreaming Glade, and today we're going to be taking a second foray into some VTuber-themed cocktails. I have, since the last time we've done this, adjusted my setup a bit, and I have not really tested it, audio-wise, hence why I've just found this huge echo. If it's bad, then, oh no, essentially. But, yeah, we'll do with what we can, anyway. So, who's ready to get into some cocktails? I've just realised I've been doing all these hand motions. I haven't actually got my, actual camera on. I've got the presentation on. 1 second. Switch that on. There we go. See, I've been doing all this expressive stuff, and no one's been seeing any of it. But yeah, so you can see maybe across the back some of the bottles we've got lined up for tonight as well. And the thumbnail has the two VTubers for the two drinks we're going to be making. Yeah, I guess we just hop straight into the first one then. I've not really got much else to say on the front end of that. Oh, I guess actually an apology for this being half an hour late. I have prepared for this the best that I can, you know, giving myself an extra week and a half an hour. But there's still some things that are going to be slightly scuffed about this. But I like to think that's just what makes it special and unique and not what makes it cursed and hideous. It's all a matter of perspective, really, isn't it? But yeah, like I said, we're just going to dive straight into this. So let me get my, the old presentation back. Oh, 1 second. Is that? Alright, there we go. We got it working. Okay, so our first VTuber for this round of VTuber cocktails is none other than Sencho herself. It's Hosho Marin. VTuber who I think was actually one of the first VTubers I ever watched. Like her original Ahoy song was, I was into that before I even knew it was from a VTuber or what a VTuber was. Like that song was kind of like, I'd say it's my gateway into this whole thing, and that's kind of why I wanted to honor her as the first Hololive person that I made a drink for, in the same way that she was essentially the first VTuber who I really recognized as a VTuber. So I've got my bars back from last time. Still haven't worked out a good thing for that bottom bar, so it's still hot and cold, but it's fine. It makes the graphic look nice, that's all we care about. Well, and also how the drink turns out, actually. I kind of care about that too. But for this point, like, at this moment, just makes the graphics look nice. Just let it rock. So flavor kind of profile-wise, I'm going with something slightly on the sweet side. I don't want to make it overly sweet. And I don't think, you know, kind of bitter is right for Marin either, but I think just a slight sweet hit would be nice. And the reason why I'm only saying slightly sweet is because it's also going to be quite a boozy cocktail. She has been known to do some drinking streams and that, and I believe her intro screen at the time of recording at least has her just like getting drunk in a chair and then dozing off. Which I mean, if that doesn't say that, you know, this probably warrants a couple of pegs up on the strength scale, then I'm not sure what does. So yeah, we're going to be making something kind of like with a reasonable kick to it, you know, with some decent booziness in there. But it's also going to be fairly simple. I figured there wasn't a need to overcomplicate this one. Just we want something, you know, kind of like nice and simple. And there's something I'm going to go into a bit later, which kind of justifies that choice as well. But yeah, you know, we're not doing anything too fancy for it. Not to say that she doesn't deserve a fancy drink, but she definitely deserves a good tasting one. And good tasting and fancy aren't always, you know, one and the same. And then for that last bar, I mean, would you guess it? We're going cold, because of course we are. Oh, whoops. I double-clicked there. It's fine, no one saw that. Okay, so we're starting off this one with a rum base, kind of like as the base spirit, because she's a pirate, you know? She's a woman of the sea. And if there's anything I know about pirates is that they like their rum. Historically, they make kind of grog out of it. There's a whole, I believe there's a whole how to drink video actually, which probably explains it a lot better than I'm about to do. But essentially, they used to use kind of like beer or like other alcoholic kind of beverages like that to stop water from growing algae on like long voyages. And then someone worked out that rum, because it was much higher proof, like did that a lot better essentially. So you'd mix like 1 part rum with 8 parts water and you'd get grog. We're not making grog here, but I definitely wanted to kind of honor the like sales tradition of starting with rum. And then I kind of looked into rum drinks that might be nice, and I stumbled across an El Presidente. So I started with that as a base, and then just kind of kept messing around with it a bit. What I actually ended up on is, well, you'll probably see by the name of the drink, actually. We're going to be making something called a Cherry Captain. And you might think, oh, okay. So, like, the Captain bit, obviously, you know, it's sensual. So, you know, that's where that Captain comes from. But where does the cherry come from? That actually comes from, if I flick my camera on, this cherry brandy, which I've got. Try and get it nice for the camera. There we are. Yeah, this cherry brandy. Now it's it's reasonably sweet, you know. I pretty faithfully tastes like kind of like cherry. Still reasonably boozy at like 24% there. And also, I thought I was looking for bottles kind of for this kind of like sensual related drink. And I noticed, I'm not sure if you can see it kind of like on the gold label here, and also on the cap, if I can get that in focus. 1 second. Back a bit, maybe. That was in focus for a second. Maybe I'll move it closer. Yeah, there we go. That is an anchor with a heart in it, which is on this particular bottle. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was ever going to make a drink based on sensual, and, it's a weird pronunciation, that's sensual. There we are. My Japanese pronunciation is a bit off, to say the least. But yeah, going back to this, if I were ever going to make a drink for sensual, and I found a bottle that was an anchor with a heart in it, I'd think of her straight away. So I definitely wanted to include this in the drink. Our other ingredients are going to be this bottle of El Dorado 8-year rum, mainly because I love this stuff and I've got it in, like, almost always. Also, kind of going back on the whole sailing theme, boats there too, although obviously rum, by its nature, has a lot of kind of, like, naval history to it. But, yeah, so we're keeping with that theme. We are going to be using a little bit of, as soon as I can reach it. No idea how this audio is going to sound, by the way. I expect to do a lot of kind of like limboing around to get to some of these bottles, because my arms are only so long. Maybe I could... to be fair, at least I'm not squatting down this time, so that's an improvement on last time. I've managed to find myself something to perch on, which is nice, from my point of view, at least. But yeah, so our third ingredient is going to be this, orange curacao or triple sec. I believe that, like... I might be talking completely out my arse here, but I believe they're like... Dry Curcao and triple sec, sorry, are like more or less the same thing, or at least they're very closely related. But yeah, I've got a bottle of that stuff here, which is going in. This is the part that comes from the El Presidente, like the original recipe. I believe the original recipe from that would also call for vermouth, but I've swapped that out, not necessarily equally for, but like for a large part with the cherry stuff. And speaking of swapping stuff out from the El Presidente, the other ingredient for that would be grenadine. But I have made the executive decision to swap that out for a bit of this Orgeat. Now you might be thinking, why have I done that? I mean, partly to differentiate the drink a bit, because, you know, I want to make something new, I want to try things here, and maybe sometimes they're good. Maybe. Sometimes. A little bit. Yeah. You know, give it a go. But I was thinking, so I've got this Dorado rum, which is, you know, a very nice... This is getting very busy on screen, I've just realised, but we'll keep going anyway. So we've got this Dorado rum, which is... hold on 1 second, I've just got to check my stream health. There we go. Yes, alright, we're going strong. We've got this Dorado rum, which is a really nice, like really kind of buttery kind of rum. We've got our, like, cherry here. We've got the kind of, like the dry curacao here essentially is more of a carryover from it coming from an El Presidente, or at least that's where like its birthplace was. But I'm thinking we've got this kind of buttery niceness. We've got cherries. If we add Orgeat, because if you've never had Orgeat, the best way I can describe it is that it smells and tastes like the kind of white part of a cherry bakewell. If you've ever had it, so if we're having the white part of a cherry bakewell and the cherry part of a cherry bakewell and some added buttery booziness, I can just make a cherry bakewell cocktail in theory, which would be very nice and also like I'd say it feels vaguely old person-ish, excuse me. But not quite. It's not like I'm making a Werther's original cocktail here or anything. But, you know, it kind of somewhat fits into, you know, Central being, like, 17 season 8 or whatever the current standing number is. If it is season 8, actually, I'd hit the money here with this aged 8 years just purely as a coincidence. But, yeah. That's kind of my reasoning for this. So now, we're going to mix them. So, we're starting off. We might take a forward a bit here. Actually, no, I'll put it back to there. We're going to start off with a good hearty ounce of my Dorado. Getting this on camera. Yep. Yeah, 1 ounce of that good stuff. Chuck that in there. Now, the next ingredient is we're going for quite a lot, to be fair, but I've played around with this drink a bit, and I think it does need quite a lot of this to get the right kind of cherry hit. So, we're going to be... Yeah. Actually has a cork top, that one, so you have to uncork it. So it's just unscrew. Yeah, we're going to be going for about 3/4 of an ounce-ish of this Kuyper cherry brandy liqueur. So about yay much, I'd say. I'm going to pop that in there. Then to make up that, ooh, actually punched my camera stand. Professional as ever. But yeah. But yeah, to make up that last 1/4 of an ounce there that we didn't make, we didn't put in with. Let me try that entire sentence again. To make up that last 1/4 of an ounce, since we only did 3/4 of an ounce of cherry brandy liqueur, the last 1/4 of an ounce here is going to be of dry curacao. Now, you really don't want too much of this stuff. It's very potent. There's a reason it comes in like a smaller bottle. So yeah, I'm just putting in about that much dry curacao. And then we're going to put in a bit less than 1/4 of an ounce, like maybe an 1/8 of Orgeat. Now you want to be really careful on the Orgeat in this drink, or grenadine or whatever sweetener you use, because it's very easy to over-sweeten this and have things get completely lost. Like, I've seen some people say only do like a couple of dashes of grenadine or Orgeat in the case of the El Presidente. I think a little more is warranted, but you really have to be careful here. So here we are. Just, I'll try and measure it out so you can see. And like that, even that's probably like a little too much, but like you really don't want much Orgeat. I'm going to put a little bit of that back. Or should I actually? No, I shouldn't. It's been mixed with triple sec now. So you know what? We'll just bite the bullet. Maybe this will be a bit too sweet, but in it goes. Right then. So with all that done, let me jigger over there. We just need to ice and shake it. Upon saying that, I've realised that I left my ice downstairs. So move this over here. I'm going to very quickly pick that up. I'll be back in just 2 seconds. And I have returned with the ice. So let's unpack these. I have these pretty neat silicone, like, kind of hexagon ice trays, which I think are pretty cool, honestly. Wait, yeah. I'll make sure I don't chuck any ice directly into the camera. So we want about like 3 or so of these little cubes. Yeah, maybe 4. It's a pretty boozy drink, so putting in extra ice to kind of help counteract it is not the worst idea I've ever had. Right, and then we're going to want to put the top on our shaker there and give it a shake. First time I'm actually trying to shake it in front of camera. How loud is that? Too loud? Well, I guess... I mean, to be fair, on OBS it looks fine because my mic should only pick up... shouldn't pick up much noise from that direction. But also, it's a lot of noise. Excuse me, it's a lot of noise. Oh, and also has the danger of me elbowing the camera stand. Okay, I've shaken it a bit there. I'm going to shake it a bit in front of the microphone, but like a little distance away so it doesn't deafen everyone. And then we're going to pour this thing, and we're going to have some tasting notes. But before I do that, how about I don't forget to write down the now serving bits again, hey? Because I forgot that last time as well. There we go. Right, so the right information should be on screen now. Anyway, back to that shaking behind the mic I was meant to be doing. Just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. And anyone who doesn't identify as either. Right. Should be good enough for me for that one, I think. So let's have our glass, which is over here. Be serving this in a little kind of like rocks glass, because it feels appropriate for the strength of the drink. Ooh. My cans are hissing at me, that's interesting. Are they telling me I've made a terrible mistake? Could be. We won't know until we crack the thing open and find out. Which I forget is always more difficult to do with gloves on. Come on. let's be having you sunny, shall we? Aha, got it. Right. So, here we are. And we will serve this on the rocks, actually, as well. I know there's already ice in it, but I'm going to get my last couple of ice cubes in there. Pour this over. And there we are. One cherry captain. Could quite reasonably see Marion sipping that one out of the golden skull that she has on her loading screen. That was the word I was struggling with. You'd quite happily see her sipping that one out of the gold skull on her loading screen. I'm gonna get a photo of this for Twitter for later. There we are. Right, let's tuck into this thing then. See if I've got the ratios right for this at all, or whether it's just going to be whether it's going to be awful. Yeah, that's the word I was going for. Got stuck halfway between horrible and awful, but it's probably fine. I mean, all the ingredients are nice. That is good. You know, I think that's the closest I've got to it tasting like a cherry bakewell. That's pretty good. So, you kind of... hold on, let me have another sip of it. See if I can... Turn a bit... Yeah, okay. So, you kind of, at the start of this thing, get, like a good, like, kind of... Wow, and it comes back in the end. That's... Ooh. So, like, at the very start of this drink, you get, like, the cherry hit from the Kuyper. And that's nice. And then it kind of does this thing where it slowly, like, mellows out. It kind of goes, in fact, I'm going to organize the bottles here to try and explain this, because this is kind of like, it's a weird, it takes you through each of the flavors. So, hold on, let me grab my show. Yeah, there we are. So, you start off with this big cherry hit, which is what we wanted. It's what that, 0.75 ounces of the stuff was for. Then, I think because of the Orgeat, you get this very slow kind of like flavor transition away from the cherry brandy that's kind of sweet. And then that sweetness also, like, very subtly, it's like a very, it's a very subtle kind of, like, flavor gradient, but you kind of go from this, like, big, loud cherry to this much quieter but still pretty sweet Orgeat, and then the Orgeat fades away, and then you come into this, almost kind of, like, a bitter, almost kind of bitter triple sec. There we are. Why do I keep forgetting the name of this thing tonight? All over the place. But yeah, you kind of come into this triple sec, and all the while, you've got, like, the booziness of the rum. Like, the only thing I would say is that as a showcase for this rum, this drink probably isn't great. Because, like, I'm not getting many of, like, the buttery notes there. Although maybe if I tried it with a different rum, I'd realize I actually, like, this is putting in a lot more work than I give it credit for. Because, I'm no, professional sommelier or, person with a refined enough palate that I can pick apart every detail from this kind of a drink. But, like, my flavor profile for this is that the rum's kind of like booziness is always there. You kind of start with a big cherry hit. You go to a sweet, kind of a slight sweetness for the Orgeat. Very, like, difficult to discern the exact points at which these hit. Like, it's not this hits, then this hits, then this hits. It's kind of like, it's a nice blend. And then what you do get actually at the end is the cherry kind of comes back. So the Kuyper is at the front and end of this. And you kind of get this kind of, like, sweet into bitter kind of sandwich in the middle of it. It's, for a simple drink, it's really got, like, a lot going for it. Like, I'm gonna have another bit of this, because this is good stuff. Yeah, you've got, like, the cherry bit. It goes kind of, like, slightly sweet, fades back into the, fades back into the, triple sec. God damn it, it's triple sec. Or dry curacao. And then, like, after that kind of dry curacao is faded away, there's like a last little kind of hit of like cherry. Like, it kind of feels like someone's, like, it tastes like that last bit, like someone's yelling cherry at the end of like an echoey corridor that you're on the other end of. Like, it's just kind of like there, and it reminds you, and then it like fades away completely. That, I think, I'm actually quite proud of that. I think that's a quality drink. So yeah, I will be enjoying that later, because in case you haven't gathered, I'm not letting this go to waste after stream. I'm going to drink this and the next cocktail, and probably be just completely shit-faced in a couple of hours. So that's my evening sorted. Let's move on to our next drink, shall we? Since, actually, but before we do, I'm going to have another sip of this. Yeah. That's good stuff. That is very good stuff. Right. So, our next drink requires me to get the old PowerPoint back, and let me just see if I can remember how to do that. Yep, there we go. So, our next VTuber actually, sorry, 1 second. I just realised I should probably get something to cleanse my palate. So I've got a little bit of a cup of cloudy lemonade that I was having earlier. So I guess that'll do, right? That probably works. Who needs like water or anything? Yeah, that's done the trick. So anyway, as I was saying before I interrupted myself there, our next VTuber is none other than Mr. Folga Ovid. You'll notice how unlike some of the other kind of like art I've used on this show before, this isn't the official Niji-sanji art, because Niji-sanji get very, very picky if you try and do stuff like that. So I've got actually I will put the artist description along with the cocktail recipes as soon as the show's done. It's Ron Eros on Instagram, where I found this particular image and then kind of like just cropped it and put a different background on it. Please go and follow them. All credit to the art goes for them. I don't claim anything. Yada, yada, yada. And also, I'm just having a bit of fun with this, really. So, you know, if I were making serious bank off of this show, then you know what? I would just commission my own art of like these different things that I could use. But, you know. Ooh. Hold on 1 sec. Hit me light. There we go. Bit weird. But yeah. So I hope that's all right with everyone. Given that I've, you know, very expressly said the artist is here. I'm going to put a link to them in the description when the stream's done. And I take no credit for this particular art. With the official arts, I normally just use them, and it's pretty obvious that it's the official art, so I assume that to be fine. But yeah, anyway, flavor profiles for this drink. For Mr. Folga Ovid. I can't get over how this font makes V's look like B's. I promise that says Ovid and not Obid. Yeah, because Folga Ovid is something different entirely, I think. That probably bears not repeating on stream. But anyway. So to start off, we're going with a kind of a moderately sweet drink with him. I suppose, like, you know, the kind of backstory-wise, and particularly with the whole of, like, you could argue this for, like, the whole of Noctix, but, like, the whole, oh, we're back from a doomed future to try and, try and sort it out kind of thing. Warrants, you know, some kind of, like, darker, edgier, bitter flavors, but as someone who watches a good amount of Folga, he doesn't give off that vibe. I mean, there's a reason why everyone in Noctix calls him, like, Fuchan. Because he's very sweet. And I think that bears, you know, that warrants representing in his drink. For strength, we're going, like, a kind of pretty middle of the road, really. Maybe erring slightly on strong, but, like, you know, it certainly doesn't need to be as strong as Senchos, because Senchos is a proper, like, you know, you have that, you sip at it, you know, in your kind of chair, or, you know, on your pirate's throne, I guess, with your golden skull, and you're fine. This one, I feel like, it bears being a bit weaker. Also because I've watched, like in preparation for this, while I was doing some research, I watched one of Folger's old, like cocktail streams where he actually makes cocktails, which I'll be putting in another, that fact we'll be putting in an appearance on the next slide as well. But yeah, I've watched some of his old cocktails, and he seems to like, you know, cocktails that aren't, like, super spirit-forward. So I think, you know, just kind of going for middle-of-the-road strength, no need to make it too boozy, is the way to go here. Speaking of those cocktail streams putting in an appearance, though, if we've got a fellow, mixologist, shall we say, it only bears... oh, God. Words. One day I'll get through some of these sentences. But yeah, if we've got a fellow mixologist, then it's only fair that I put in the proper amount of effort to, you know, make this drink a bit fancier, maybe use some of the advanced techniques and that. Purely as, you know, admiration for the craft from one person to another. And on the hot and cold end, we're going cold. One day I might make a hot drink here, but it would be quite difficult, the setup I've got, actually, so I wouldn't hold your breath on it. We can just assume that this last mile is going to be cold until the end of time. So, inspirations for this drink. Now, I admittedly know that Folger has, like, a kind of a blog spot where he writes a fic, something about Legatus, I believe. I have not read it, I'll be honest. My research, my time for researching extends so far, and it wasn't far enough that I could read, like, that particular, his work, as it were. Will this light stop? Oh. Yeah, I think there must be a loose connection in this wire. Oh, God, it keeps going. Hold on a second. Does that make it any better? Yeah, we're going to try that. Yeah, sorry. Behind the scenes technical stuff. But yeah, so I haven't read Legatus. Or about Legatus. I'm not sure if that's the name of the fic or the name of the main character within a fic. But yeah. And I'm also not sure if this next point I'm going to bring up is referenced in there, but I have to assume it comes from there. Folger's viewers are called the Confidants, and they're like little sheep guys. Now, he's a cyborg from the future that, like, he's a cyborg from the future that's come back to, like, you know, he's essentially kind of like, you know, like, Otome Game Lean Terminator, for want of a better... Actually, that's a brilliant way of describing him. He is Otome Game Terminator. Huh. Yeah, that works out. But yeah, but regardless, regardless of that, I don't know how sheep tie into it. Like, the only link I can think of is, like, the "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep" quote, but, like, does that get referenced in the fic? Is that why his viewers are called Confidants? I simply don't know. I could not tell you. But those are his fans, and I thought, you know what? That seems like a particularly poignant detail, and one I can work into a drink. So, let's go and make a drink out of that. And as I said on the last screen, actually, to do with the complexity, Folger's a fellow kind of mixologist. Excuse me, sneeze coming. My light's gone off again. Stop bumping this wire. There we go. But yeah, so Folger's a fellow mixologist. So I thought I really wanted to pull out, you know, something on the fancier end of stuff, just to show the kind of full range of the craft, and, you know, some, you know, put some respect on his name, essentially, as I believe the kids would say. So, without further ado, I'd like to present to you my undoubtedly the dumbest name for a drink I've thought of so far. I'm only 4 drinks in, so I warn you, ladies and gentlemen, it only gets worse from here. We are making a Mofulga Fizz. Because mofu is like the Japanese sound for, like, kind of fluffy, like sheep. It's often associated with them. And then Folga. And then a fizz. Because it's kind of like a gin fizz. Huh? Kind of? Look, again, I was kind of struggling with this one. My other name was the Electric Sheep, but I didn't think it was, like, the right colour for that at all. It was like, if I think Electric Sheep, I want it to be, like, fluffy and, like, blue-yellow. But it's not going to be blue-yellow. So, it's actually going to be kind of closer to Folger's colours. Kind of like, well, at least I think it is. I'll be honest, I've never made this one before, so, we're guessing here. So, if you would give me just a few seconds, I have to rinse out my shakers, make sure there's none of the cherry captain still left in them. And I'm going to quickly update the stream info as well, so just give me a couple of ticks to get that all sorted. Alright, and I'm back. And I'm going to stick the hand cam back on. Now, with two nicely cleaned, Oh, a light. Right, well, I'm going to have to keep flicking that back on, but, yeah, some behind-the-scenes camera magic that's getting, slightly spoiled there, but hey-ho. Right, so to make this drink, we are making kind of like, I based this drink off a Ramos Gin Fizz. So I'm going to stick pretty faithfully to that, bar a couple of little tweaks. So, a Ramos Gin Fizz, as you can imagine, starts with some gin, specifically some London Dry for a fellow British lad. The London Dry Gin seems appropriate. Although, the concept of it being London Dry Gin seems a bit of a misnomer, because like everything British, we nicked it from somewhere else. Like, I think it's this process of brewing London Dry Gin originally came from the Dutch. But, yeah. Something, the only thing British people ever created was cultural appropriation. But regardless of that, we're starting with some London Dry Gin. And our next ingredient, if I am correct, and I can get it up. Ooh. Just very quickly. Why did I put that? There we are. Aha. Yes, right. So, next up is two ingredients which I'm actually going to need to... Well, the first of a couple of ingredients we have to actually cut up here. So we want 1/4 ounce of lemon and 1/4 ounce of lime juice. I almost did those the wrong way around. So I'm going to be cutting them. God, light. Do excuse the difficulties. I'm trying to keep the warm lighting on here. Yeah. So, 1/4 ounce of lemon, 1/4 ounce of lime. Didn't get it wrong that time either. Once we've done with that, we're going to need this here, the white of 1 whole egg. There he is. We're going to need the white of this egg. Now, you might be thinking putting egg white. There we go. You might be thinking, that's a pretty strange thing to put in a drink, an egg white. Like, is that safe to drink? Speaking as someone who's had a couple of versions of the original Ramos Gin Fizz, to be fair. I don't think I've yet had a version where it's all the ingredients that are, like, as written. But I've had a couple of close ones, which have had the egg whites in, and it is perfectly safe to drink. Those of you who are in Britain, at least, and don't know if an egg is safe to drink or not, so something I kind of found out while looking this up. You see on the egg, there's this sort of, I'm pointing out, this red lion. That stamp means it's passed certain food authority safety tests, and that means that you are actually good to eat this raw if you want to, and you don't leave it for, like, you know, longer than a couple of weeks in your fridge. But yeah, that's something I've looked up. I'm not a health expert, please do your own research, but that is the research I'm going off to make this drink. That, and obviously people make been making Ramos Gin Fizzes for, like, ages. And I don't think many, well, some of them probably have died, but I don't think it's from egg-related stuff. Probably a couple of them, but there's always someone, isn't there? Our next ingredient is we're going to need a couple of drops, and this is just drops, so this is absolutely not too much of this stuff at all, of orange blossom water. Or orange flower water, as it's sometimes called. This stuff is very, 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 very potent. You want a couple of drops of it in, and no more. Otherwise, your entire drink is going to taste like perfume. And particularly with how long this one takes to make, you don't want that, trust me. You do not want that. So yeah, we'll keep our orange flower water over here for the minute. And then our final other ingredient is actually some cream, which I've got here. Now, in the past, because I don't always have cream lying around when I was, like, prototyping this, I did it with milk. And I got kind of the effect that you're meant to get with the Ramos Gin Fizz, but I think because milk's a lot thinner than cream, it didn't quite work out. So this is going to be my first time making it with cream. I hope it works. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, then oh no. But yeah, so this is all kind of just very standard Ramos Gin Fizz stuff. And because it's such a complicated drink anyway, I didn't want to, like, mess with it too much. But the one thing I am going to do is to give it a little bit of, like, a red color, and also to kind of sweeten the profile a bit, because as I mentioned in the kind of flavor profile screen, Folger seems to lean towards. Did I actually mention that? Well, if I didn't mention it, I'll mention it now. Tell you what, we'll go for that. From watching some of Folger's old cocktail streams, he seems to lean towards, like, Blue Lagoons, or, like, the profiles of drinks that aren't that boozy and are quite sweet. So I am going to add just a little bit of our old friend, the Kuyper Cherry Brandy, to the mix. And we're going to let that rock. We're going to see what that does to it. Probably not going to add much. I don't want it to overpower the drink. And also, there's another little kind of change that I'm going to make at the very end that will also probably sweeten it up. So, yeah, we're not going to go hog wild on that, we say. We want it just there for a little bit of colour and a little bit of cherry flavour. But anyway, so let's start. Probably should have washed my jigger out as well. Yeah, fine, whatever. So, I'm going to start with 2 ounces of our London Dry. So, and we're also going to try and get it on camera. That would be nice. is 1. And here is 2. Go. Oh. What is clanking? Ah. Right. I left the orange curacao too close to the glass for this. We are going to add to that a mere ½ an ounce of our cherry brandy liqueur. Again, not too much, just enough to get a bit of flavor and a bit of color. That is a beautiful red we've got there that we want to add to the drink. Assuming I can get it all in there without spilling it everywhere. Which, you know, maybe I can. Maybe, you'd hope. So, what do I want to tackle next? Let's do our lemon and lime. So, one of these orb-shaped things is not like the other. For God's sake, don't try and cut the other one in half with a knife. So, there we are. There's a lemon cut. And there's our lime cut. Now, we only want 1/4 ounce of each of these, so not that much. In each half of these, there's probably going to be more than 1/4 ounce. And in a way, I kind of really hate that. Because, like, it means you're just wasting parts of the lime here. Like, at least the other half, the untouched half of lemon and lime, I can, like, wrap up in some, like, cling film. I can put them in the fridge and I can use them, like, tomorrow or the day after. These kind of half-spent ones, I'm really not going to be able to use again. So, I kind of resent things asking for 1/4 ounces of lemon and lime, but the Ramos Gin Fizz, again, because of how there's a lot of actual, like, chemistry going on in there, to make the effect you get at the end of Ramos Gin Fizz, which, in case I haven't explained that yet, actually, I'll do while I'm juicing this lime. I'm going to have to do this one kind of like, yeah, if I want this on camera, I'm going to have to do this one standing up just so I can see it. But yeah, the kind of effect you want the Ramos Gin Fizz is for it to be, wait, sec, measuring. ½ an ounce lime juice to me. Let's pop that out. Yeah, there we are, look at that. Still perfect load of good lime there. That's probably just going to go to waste, which is really unfortunate. Because we've got our 1/4 ounce of lime juice. That's all we need, really. I've got to stop speaking past the mic. I can only imagine the audio for this stream has been a wild ride. But, yeah, what was I saying before that? Right, okay, I'm going to actually explain this before I juice this next one, because I tried doing both last time and it didn't quite work. The effect you want to get with the Ramos Gin Fizz is essentially you want to get this big, like, kind of, almost like, kind of like, you want the drink to be mostly froth. Like, you can get this really light, really fluffy effect that comes from, like, the egg white and the gin, and kind of like the interplay between those. Obviously, to do that, you need kind of to keep your ingredients roughly in proportion. And you also need to do something which I'm going to do later, which is shake it for, like, a long while. So, we're going to be doing that in a bit, which is going to be an interesting thing to do on stream. But for now, well, I'm not making a very good job of camera angling this. All 1 second. Do we want to bump this up to half? No. Okay. Any other drink, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I'd bump the lemon and lime up to half because, God, I hate wasting stuff. But it's the Ramos. You've got to kind of respect it. Yeah, I'll chuck that out of there. Chuck my Mexican elbow over there, which is the name of the juicer in case anyone is wondering. It's not just that I have a particular, like, Hispanic joint or anything. Right. So our next ingredient is we're going to have 1 ounce of this cream. Now, it's double cream here. I believe that's just the British equivalent of heavy cream for anyone who's watching this from overseas. So that's the cream you're looking for. And we're going to want 1 whole ounce of this. And I can probably take that out of here now. Because, yeah, doing the lemons and limes can get a bit messy. And I want to try and keep this kind of space vaguely clean-ish, you know. Get some vague semblance of clean. But, yeah, we're going to do an ounce of this. Oh, God, if I... Yeah, I've missed that a bit. Go. Add it there. A huge splodge of cream on my desk now, but I'll tidy that up in just a minute. Wow, and it really coated the inside of that. Got that. Oh wow, yeah, I missed just a bit there. Right, fine. Dust this off. It's fine. These gloves can officially retire afterwards because they're getting a bit covered in lime juice and cream and other stuff. Then what haven't I added yet? The egg. So here we are. This will be fun doing this on camera. Let's get our concoction. Let's crack the egg. And again, doing this with gloves on, probably also a terrible, terrible idea. You know what? It's fine. Roll the egg over. Just try and loosen the white off. I really don't want to go this egg, huh? There we go. There we go. 1 egg. Put back there. And, wow, yeah, I'm going to have to get a new pair of gloves just for, God, just for handling the drink elsewhere. And our final ingredient that I haven't forgotten is a few drops of orange flower water. Now, I like to use the cap for this. We are literally talking drops. So, let's move this back a bit. So, like that. I've got the cap there. Probably too much. We want literal drops. Yeah, 'cause that's about that. That's probably still a bit too much. So about that much, I think, is fine. It's actually really hard to see on there, but like, if I hopefully tip it up here, you can see it go in. Yep, there we are. That's all we need. Not much of that stuff at all. It's very, very powerful. Right. And now we come to a bit of a kind of sticking point as far as stream goes. Wait, no, we don't. I'm silly. I forgot an ingredient. Almost. So, one of the changes I'm making to this recipe from its original version is, so the original version would call for simple syrup, of the kind of, you know, just kind of, the white sugar kind. I've got some Demerara Syrup, which I'm going to use instead. You might be asking, well, that seems a bit of an arbitrary change. Why are you doing it? Well, first off, I'm looking for a darker colour from this drink. And you know, they're both sugars, but this syrup will help kind of do that. And also partly, I tried brewing some kind of regular simple syrup earlier. And apparently the pan I used to brew it in wasn't quite washed out, because when I tasted it, it all tasted of fucking bacon for some reason. So, let me move this back a bit. We're going to be doing 1/4 of an ounce of Demerara syrup, which is the only other syrup I had to hand. So I'm doing this over the shaker now because, oh god, the light picked the worst time to go out. Yeah, I'm doing this over the shaker now just because that other half the jigger was filled with cream, and I didn't want to deal with that going over my desk more than it already had. Right. So, that's all the ingredients for a Ramos Gin Fizz, bar the stuff you top it with at the end. However, we've hit a bit of a stumbling block here because to make a proper Ramos Gin Fizz, you must dry shake this for about 4 to 5 minutes, add some ice, and then shake for 10. Now, I'm under no illusion that people want me to hear me huffing and panting for 15 minutes to make this. So what I propose is, I'm going to dry shake, I'm going to clean up, I'm going to dry shake this, and then I'm going to do the first half or so of the shaking it with ice. I'm then going to come back, and I'll do the last half of the shaking with ice, kind of on camera, so to speak, although it'll probably be behind camera, and it'll just be me like huffing and panting and pretending that I am big strong man and I'm not tired by this at all, when in fact I'll be completely fucking dead. So, I'm going to throw up a quick back soon here. I will be back shortly with, hopefully, a drink. See you in about 10 minutes. I'll try and be back by 1:45. See you soon. Alright, hello again. I am back with an almost fully shaken drink. It's got a couple of minutes left on it though. I'm just gonna watch down and using downstairs to keep track of time. I'm gonna shake this for another 2 minutes, starting now. Because then it will have, in a couple of bursts, had its full 10 minutes. Luckily, I can shake this pretty close now because most of the ice is like kind of melted, and it's not going to cause too much noise. I can try and shake it a bit closer actually, because that might be something good to do while I'm shaking this. Just not sure if any of that came through. OBS said it didn't look like it, so I guess it's hitting below the noise threshold for my gate that I've got set up, which is a bit of a shame, but this is a cocktail making stream first and foremost, not an ASMR stream, so we'll live with it, you know? I think I'm also doing a pretty remarkable job of not panting into the mic, because I've been shaking this for almost 20 minutes now, and yeah, my arms are tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, there we are. Switch sides. Go on the other arm for a minute. That's kind of how I've been doing this, and yeah. If you are planning to make a Morfolga fizz, or even just a normal Ramos gin fizz at home, my advice to you is have people about that you can say, hey, do you want to shake this for like 2 minutes while I kind of curl up in a corner and die and try and regain some of my strength? Because, yeah, otherwise, if you're just making it and you're by yourself, you better have some guns, laddie, because you're going to be shaking this thing for a while. Feel like we're getting there now, though, with this. At least I hope we are. 10 seconds, according to my watch. Almost there. Just giving it a really good final shake. Which you can probably tell by the fact my audio probably sounds hideously jottery. Right. That's all I can be asked to shake that for, so I think whatever is at this point. Oops, almost forgot. Put these, billion point gloves on. I didn't say any of that into the mic, so no one probably heard. I was just saying, yeah, before I put my hands back on screen, I better put the old gloves back on. Although it wouldn't be a drinking stream at this point without, me forgetting to do that, or deciding that the gloves are too much effort, but I'm gonna stick with them. The aesthetic's nice. Even if these gloves are a bit, yeah, at this point. Right, anyway. Let's pour our fizz. Let's see how this has turned out. Okay. Well, it's different to the last one I made. Not really getting the fizz factor at all there, I'm going to be honest. Maybe I didn't shake it for long enough, but I shook it for as long as I could. Right. Now. What was I going to say? Yeah, that was it. Now, an original Ramos Gin Fizz recipe here would call for you to top this with seltzer or tonic water or something like that. I, however, am a big dum-dum and realised I didn't have any of that in. So, in order to account for that, what I'm going to top this with instead, and also to sweeten the flavour palette a little bit, is some cloudy lemonade. I don't know how this is going to affect the drink, but you know, we're here to find out. We're here to fuck around, and we're here to find out. Let's top this with this. Yeah, well, it's a bit busier now, so that's something. Oh. There we are. And, take the glove off before I do this one. Gloves are caked in so much stuff. Let's, Whew. Man, I am sweating. But yeah, let's get paraphernalia out of the way. This here. That's pretty good, actually. Once you top it up with that, that's a good head of fizz. All right. Let's take a photo of it. There we are. And with that aside, so let's try the bloody thing. Let's see if the cherry has come through at all in this. And yeah, let's check its general flavor profile, shall we? Ooh. Wow. Yeah, the granted, I didn't really caught the frothy bit at the top of it because, as you can probably see from this dividing line, it is like this much froth, which is how a gin fizz is meant to be. But that is pretty magical. That is, ooh, it's so, I've definitely picked the right drink to make like a soft, like not a soft drink as in a non-alcoholic drink, but a drink that feels soft. God, I love that texture. Like the interplay between the egg white and the gin does just some magical stuff to this drink. And my oxygen-deprived brain is kind of struggling to adequately describe it because it's not like many other alcoholic drinks you're going to find like at all. But so good. Oh, that's so good. Like I can tell, compared to when I did this on the test run where I only had milk, the cream really comes through, particularly in that top bit. Like, it's the cream and the egg white make this so smooth. And you've still got, like, I think the cherry does actually come through surprisingly well in this. Like, I get, well, it's more that I get a note of flavor that, like, I don't really attribute to anything else. Like, maybe it's citrusy. Maybe that's what I'm getting. Let me have another go. See if I can get anything from this. Yeah. Okay, you definitely do get the cherry in there a little bit. I'd say it plays second fiddle to the citrus notes, which makes me wonder if I overdid the lemon and lime juice in this. But it's not unpleasant. So, yeah. I am very happy with this drink. I think, a fitting tribute to Mr. Ovid and his confidants. So, with that being drunk, actually no, not with that being drunk. I want to go at this. The top is like ice cream. I've made ice cream in a glass, I think is what's happened here. That is just extraordinary stuff. And like the division line changes as you go around the glass as well. That's pretty funky. Like where I've drunk it, the division line, you can see it kind of like slopes up. Oh. God, I'm going to enjoy that one after the show. That one is good. But yeah, there we are. So that is 2 VTuber cocktails. We've made the Cherry Captain in honor of Hoshor Marine, and we've made the Muffolga Fizz. Which, now I'm saying the name out loud, kind of makes me sound like, instead of Mofu, like Muffolga and Mofu, it kind of just sounds like I'm saying Muffolga, as in like Milady. Which, not quite where I was aiming with that name. But to be fair, definitely the shittest name I've made for a drink, which is a shame because this drink is a gem. It really is. Like, I love this thing. This is my child. Yes. But yeah, enough of my kind of drunken rambling for the minute. I think that will be it for the stream tonight. So, thank you all very much for watching. I've been Artorius Winchester, and I'll see you on our next cocktail stream, where two more VTubers will have themselves immortalized as alcoholic beverages. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.